earthquake.
Hi, everybody. All right. I'm here for it. Okay, here we go, my friend. Hi, I'm Austin Eartham.
And I'm Taylor Patton, and welcome to Kitchen Table Podcast.
We're to motivate, educate, and relate to you guys, sharing our stories, helping you get 1% better in all areas of your life. Welcome to episode number 71. We're out here in March. I got no news. We should be like the Kelsey brothers. New news. That's what they say.
Really?
Yeah. We are the number one motivational podcast in the world. Not yet, but we will. You just wait. Anyways, what do we got? Anything this week? What's going on? Taylor's alive, by the way, if you guys wanted to know. He's better. He's no longer on his deathbed.
Yeah. I was not feeling good last week. I was struggling to be alive. But we drank a lot of Dayquil, and we're back at it.
Speaking of drinking, it's almost our birthdays.
Yeah.
Not that it means we have to drink, but you know. A kid asked me this today at school. He said, "How long have you been sober for?" I said, "About 2 weeks." He said, "That's good." He said, "Wish I could say the same." It's a seventh grader. I said, "No." I said straight up, "You don't have the guts to do that." He's like, "What?" And I said, "Drink." I said, "Nor should you be doing it." He said, "I know." I just put him in his place. It felt good. Felt good to talk down to a seventh grader. Anyways, I'm proud of my episode I did when you were gone, by the way.
Yeah.
I went on a 35-minute rant. We got 1% better. Talked about my journal. Past week, what I learned since we've done the podcast last time. And I spent almost 20, I thought it said 15 minutes on basically one thing. And that one thing was spending time on things. And how important it is to spend time on stuff that you think is important or is going to bring you passion or joy or purpose.
Yeah.
And you got to be committed to it, and you got to have the people in your circle that are going to help you get there. If you don't have that, you better find some people. Otherwise, you're not going to be in the right spot. And I gave some different analogies towards that and examples of my own life. So I'm just thinking, what do you spend time on right now? Besides sleeping all day.
Not even all day. I still had to grind work. And then I went home and slept all day. Right now, I mean, working out, reading. I would say that's probably like top three things that like.
Reading. What are you reading?
I'm finishing up David Goggins' book called Never Finished.
Good book.
Yeah, it's a great book. It just kind of goes into more detail. He has his first book, Can't Hurt Me. If you haven't read that one, absolutely go read that one. I like that one more. I don't know why. But
I don't read his books. I just listen to the podcast with Joe Rogan. I'm reading a good book right now. I talked about it in Monday's episode, or last Monday's episode.
Yeah.
It's the guy who's on the hockey commercials, and it says, like, you don't watch TV, you don't know. Tim Messier, I think is how you say his name. It's called No One Went Alone. It's a really good book. It talks about his hockey career so far. I'm sure it'll get more into his life. Also, never knew Wayne Gretzky was that good. I mean, I knew he was good, but I know he's that guy. Anyways.
Yeah.
That's a recap of last week if you guys missed it. Not as many plays as I was hoping, so click the link, look at it, drink your Vitargo, all that good stuff. Yeah. Taylor would have drank his Vitargo. He would have been.
I'm perfect fun.
Yeah, he wouldn't even been sick. But it is what it is. Anyways, Taylor's gonna lead this episode. So, what do we got? He's like, what, really?
No. First thought is,
Deep in thought. Here we go.
what do you need to get off your chest today?
I think about this every time we do the podcast. Because I think of, well, because
I'm glad I'm asking.
I should say the new version of the podcast.
Yeah.
Because I used to we have a little sheet we say of like what we're trying to help people learn on, and then we're like, oh, we should just talk about our lives, right?
Yeah.
So every time before we do the podcast, I try to think about, well, I text you and say, what do you want to talk about tonight? If there's like a theme, I always look for themes in the week. Again, talked about my stars last week. And I was thinking, what's on my mind right now? So then I got thinking, you know what? Netflix is on my mind. Two things that'll come to mind when I get to that. Number one, I have all my learning comes from Netflix now. I didn't even like Netflix, but my wife has Netflix, and there's some good stuff on there, and I didn't even know about it. So,
like all the documentaries?
Yes, that's literally what it is.
There's quite a few.
I've watched a lot of sports documentaries on coaches. I've watched documentaries on golf. I watched documentaries on tennis. And I've watched a documentary just the other day on alpine. This is the sport of alpining. And the second thing that I thought about of Netflix is fear. This goes back to the alpine. Do you want me to get into that now, or you got other stuff you want to go before we get into it?
Let's dive into alpine.
All right. So there's a guy named Andre Marc Leret. I can't say his name. Anyways, documentary was filmed in like 2016, and alpine. I keep wanting to say alpine skiing. That's not right. Just literally alpining, like rock climbing. Like you're going straight up the wall. He used to like climb stuff and not be harnessed at all. So like people who go up, what's the Yosemite one called?
Half Dome.
Yeah, Half Dome. People climb that, and that's like prestigious or whatever.
Yes.
That's like nothing to like professional alpinists.
Yeah.
So this guy does Half Dome or something like that with no harness. He's literally just himself. He just climbs it. So then he gets into some other stuff. Yeah, no. I can barely rock climb up 30 feet, and I get too far out and I fall because I'm so heavy. Anyways, I'm not even that heavy. But he does strap himself in, but he does all these solo missions. Okay, and he doesn't map out the quest beforehand. He literally goes to the mountain and does it. So the Netflix documentary, he didn't like tell people whenever he was gonna do stuff. So he just did it, and then they found out afterwards because he posted a picture on Instagram, and they're like, "Why didn't you tell us you're climbing this mountain?" And there's one like in Alaska he did, and there's one in the Canadian Rockies that's like, I guess it's Robeson. Is it Mount Robeson? And the film crew's like, "Why didn't you have us go?" And he's like, "Because then it's not a solo mission, and it's not as good if I just want to be with nature." And he was just so fulfilled by doing it by himself, and he has this like, how I think going to mountains like that, and I look up at a mountain and think I'm gonna climb that, and I get scared instantly. So then he does this place in Patagonia that's like in the summer is one of the best places to alpine, and it's considered like the hardest in the Americas. He's gonna do it in the winter. So he goes in the winter, tries it, gets stuck almost at the top in a blizzard, and made his way down. He didn't make it. 2 days later, he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this again. So he literally does it, and he makes it. And I just think of the fear, like, if you watch, like, the video, just think about, like, when we've gone hiking, and we walk, like, 2 miles in, and I'm hating it. Right? I was like, could we be done by now? And he's probably had to walk 2 miles just to get to where he's sleeping for the night, and then walk 2 more miles to get to, like, the base of the wall, we'll call it.
Yeah.
And I just think of the fear that comes to my mind, like, okay, I could die out here. I'm by myself. He has 2 rules. He doesn't plan ahead, like, because he wants to just go up to the wall and figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't take any communication device if something goes wrong. So, to me, that's already fearful. But he's just at one with nature. Like, I think driving in the car or working out and this and that is fun. And other people are like, I could never do that. That's something I could never do. He gets stuck in the snowstorm. I'd be.
It's just confidence.
Yeah, he's
not even fearful of it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like for him, it's like not. He's like, I'm not fear. Like I know I could die, but it doesn't like scare me. And the producers asked him, he's like, you could die, you know, and he's like, yeah, I guess it was gnarly climb, man. Like it was fun.
That's what I was saying. I was like, especially for those extremists that like truly find what they want to do. They have no problem dying when they're doing what they truly love.
Yeah.
Same thing with like, I mean, mountain climbers. You're like, what?
Or like Iditarod people. I talked about
like,
Iditarod last time. Like, you know what that is? Like in Alaska.
Yeah.
Like you're literally by yourself for 10 days in bitter cold, going through storms, just you and your dogs.
Mm-hmm.
Or like being out in the water. Like people, there's a person who swam from like Tasmania to Australia and all these other like linking places. Or somebody jet skis across the Atlantic, or somebody sails around the world by themselves. There's a documentary on that girl on Netflix right now that did that.
Yeah. At some point,
it's all scary to me.
Right. But at some point, like I'm sure, like at some point they were scared, but at some point that fear just diminishes. Yeah. Because you're just there. Like either you're living or you're dying. So at what point are you fearing? Like what point are you fearing for? Either you're living through it or you're gonna die through it.
They showed that. So there was literally a place in the wall that, because he had to like change shoes, like to ice picks or ice shoes to like rock climbing shoes.
Yeah.
And he's literally climbing a wall where his fingers, like if you guys see the video, he's like he can barely grab it with his first knuckle. And I'm like literally a rock falls and it's just like straight down. Literally like things. So it's like the fear comes to me. I have two options: move forward or die. That's literally
I've never seen this movie, but it's exactly what I'm saying.
It just blows my mind. Yeah. But he did say, go ahead.
I think it just applies like to anything in life. Like you just have to focus on what's in front of you. Like you can't change what's behind you because it's in the past, and you can't change tomorrow because it hasn't happened yet. But what you can change is the current moment. The focus is right then, right there.
I do think the process really matters because he's climbing this wall. It took him 3 days. Well, the first time he tried, it took him almost 3 days. Second time he did it in 1 day. But the first time he's trying to figure it out, and the brain power to focus for 3 straight days has got to be tiring. It's not like you're sleeping good. Like he finds a little, it's called a bevy or whatever. Mm-hmm. He like sleeps on it so that he can.
Does he hook in, or is he just like?
No, he hooks in when he's hooked in the whole time.
Oh, he is.
Yeah, but if he like falls, there's nobody to hold him, so he's like hooked into like another rock basically. Like helps strap him up. He pulls his backpack up after he gets up.
So he's hooked in. So if he falls,
he's dead. No, not like that hooked in. There's no one to hold him. It's solo by yourself.
Yeah, even when you're solo climbing, there's still like weights.
Yeah, but he's not. No, it's too narrow. Like he would fall.
I have no idea.
He would fall a distance. He might not fall to the ground, but he would fall a very large distance.
So he would not. He's not hooked into like, you know, they have like safety points that they put in.
No, he's not like hooked to anything like that.
So he's just free climbing.
Pretty much, yes. But like at night, his tent's hooked to like different things around the rock, so it can hold him. Then he just goes in a sleeping bag. But he's on like a rock. Like you could stand on a rock all day and not fall.
Not my forte.
Yeah, but then they were talking about. I was thinking when you're fearful, when you accomplish something that is fearful, it makes you feel so much better. And he talked about how after he climbed the Patagonia mountain, for like, and even his girlfriend talked about for like 2 months he was on like a high. Like think about coming home from a retreat and how you have that experience.
Right.
It's because mentally, emotionally, it's so
rewarding,
powerful that you did this and went through this.
Yeah.
That you feel the after effect of it, and that's what really helps us to grow in life. Is facing our fears.
Yeah. Oh, wow, the quote go. Close calls make you live harder. The key literally lives in close calls.
Yeah.
And then whenever you
every day.
Yeah.
Not every day. Every time he climbs.
Yeah. I was like, it absolutely makes sense that he is on a high. Then the after effect, I'd say it's more scary after he climbs. Because then you kind of like you have this invincible feeling.
And has an invincible
feeling. That's what I'm saying. Is like then you kind of like live at like a different frequency. So then it's kind of like how like young kids live. Like how they have their whole life. They live invincible. Like they're untouchable.
Also, though, he was talking about purpose in life, and in the end, he was saying, if I made it to the top or didn't make it to the top, if I don't make it to the top, I'm mad. If I do make it to the top, I feel this purposeful impact, right? But in the end, I didn't change. Like I'm still me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in the end, like fear, sure, I'm fearful of this, or I think this is easy, but in the end, it is what it is. You know?
Yeah.
It's not that like crazy. Like you don't got to get. My point is to not let it go to your brain, or I'm this person, or I can't do this because I didn't make it, or I'm too good because I made it.
I see what you're saying.
Just stay like you are you. You know what I mean? Don't get too high, don't get too low.
That's
Everybody's
what I'm
gonna
saying.
have some sort of fear. Everybody's gonna have some sort of success. Define success, I guess.
Yeah.
So I just think fear is something interesting. And then, so here's what's it called when you like announce the ending. Why am I not thinking about this? Struggle with this all the time.
Announce the ending.
Like I tell you and you're not supposed to know it yet.
Spoiler?
Yeah, spoiler alert. There you go. They show later, and he's
Yeah.
climbing in Alaska with a friend, just a normal mountain, like just for fun. Sends an Instagram picture at the top of the summit, and on the way down, they had an avalanche and they get covered. And search crews saw their rope, and they were like 10 feet under the snow because there was like a three-day storm. So he dies, which of course was gonna happen to him, right? But his mom was speaking at his funeral. It's crazy because people came from all over the world to died at 25, all over the world to
25.
He was 25. And he was hyped, dude. He'd been like the man at alpining since he was like 18. Like when he died in 2018. In 2016 is when he did the Patagonia one. And the hostel he stayed with in Patagonia, he loves just doing the locals and living off the land, that kind of stuff. Flew to Alaska for his funeral. He was that close with him. Then he just met him. He met him for like 2 weeks. And they flew all the way from Chile or Argentina to his funeral in Canada.
Yeah.
And so anyways, the mom was speaking like, how many people think about the life they want to live and don't do it because it's dangerous, they're fearful, or somebody tells them not to? He's like, she said, my son lived the exact life he wanted, even though people said it wasn't a good idea. He assumed the risk, which obviously in the end, the risk is what killed him.
Yeah.
But she's living the life he wants to live, and she said that he lived his purpose on this earth. Absolutely. And I think that is the ultimate conquer to fear right there. To get to your purpose, you have to meet that. We talked a lot about purpose and challenge. To get to that purpose, you have to reach or beat a lot of challenges, but first you have to try those challenges. And a lot of those people don't do because they're fearful.
Absolutely.
So that's where I've been learning this week from Netflix. And that's where the fear came in, thinking about challenges. Really interesting to me.
It was awesome. Hella sad.
Yeah, it was a big bummer when it came on and it kind of went that way. I knew it was going to be that way too.
Because then there's like so much to learn from like those types of people who just like have it just built in them.
Yeah,
he didn't, to me, like he didn't just wake up one day and then like.
No, that's who he was.
Yeah, like
it's
that,
like all the other like alpinists said he has a sixth sense.
That's what I'm saying. To be that good, to do it that way.
Yeah.
That's like.
And when he's explaining some stuff, like he doesn't like talking to the camera. He just literally likes being in nature and hanging out with his girlfriend, climbing and stuff like that, living off the land, picking berries, knowing the locals, all that kind of stuff. He loves just watching the water and the stream and walking, hitchhiking.
To vibrate like that, to have that type of energy, like that's why people fly. That's why it's just like you could met him for one day, and I bet they would have flew.
This literally describes him. At the end, after he climbs the mountain in Patagonia, he's getting it's basically like a taxi to the airport. He's like, oh, my ride's here. Now I got to negotiate because I have no pesos. He's leaving. He has no money. I'm just like, dude, if I was in that situation, I'd be so nervous. Like, what do? I have no money.
Right.
And he's like, I just negotiate. I'll do something. So I just think he definitely was living his best life. And we all got to do that.
Right.
Which is really interesting to me. The way, because I could never live that lifestyle.
Yeah.
But it's also, he was so smart at knowing the risk. So like he talked about it a little bit. How he knew like, yeah, the avalanche could happen here, and you got to have the rope set here. And he's like, I've been preparing for this climb during the last 5 climbs. like thinking about what this might look like. And then to go, and he said my worst fear was to be in a snowstorm halfway up the mountain in Patagonia. And it literally happened to him. He's like, and I got down alive, so that's worth something. Conquering that fear is worth something.
Yeah. And yeah, because another quote I have written down is big picture thinking, little picture working.
I like that. Think big, but the process is what's going to get you there.
Yeah. And especially like when he's climbing and he's thinking 5 climbs ahead.
Oh yeah.
Like, you know, like that's why, like, he's like, I'm climbing this mountain, but I'm already thinking about 5 mountains ahead.
So thinking about like how I said I learned from Netflix and stuff, right?
Yeah.
So you saying that, I feel like I plan, whether this is good or bad, I feel like I plan 5 steps ahead. Done stuff a lot this past couple weeks. I've said with my business that I'm going to run just in case kicking doesn't work out. Planned a lot ahead. I've been planning more ahead for money wise for my wife and I, what we need to do next in our lives. So I think trying to take that learning into action is important.
Yeah.
So my question is, where have you put the big picture thinking into small day-by-day steps to get to that process?
Yeah. And I'd say a lot of it comes from like conversations. And that, like, if I'm thinking about I guess a lot of like my work around, like a lot of my like focus is like my work. So I think, okay, so if I can have conversations with these people and teach them these things, or they can learn these things, and it makes my job easier at the end of the day. And so that's how I would say, like, currently I'm pretty focused on. And that.
So what's the big picture?
And that big picture,
like with that example, what's the big picture? You said conversations.
Yes, big picture, helping people grow in their potential. And then in that focus would be like in their professional work. So what that means is like, okay, so like a new person comes in, okay, what can I do and teach them to become the best and most influential person at work? How can they grow as a staff member to make their job easier and the people around their job easier and making the kids stay easier? What conversations can be had to change someone's life?
So you have conversations with them to help them do that, obviously.
Yeah. That's it. In the past week, I'd say that's what I'm focusing
on. I like it.
Yeah.
So things get better.
Yeah. Well, then, this way off topic, different topic. Well, I hate doing like invaluable things like that.
Dude, me
I
too.
think that like are invaluable. They're like, they serve purpose. Get my oil change.
Yeah.
Worst thing.
I don't want to go that far. I just think.
But I was just thinking, I'm like, I have to get my oil changed, and so I'm like, but now I have to spend an hour, 2 hours getting it changed. But I was like, to me, that's a waste of my time. Like, it's just like a.
So what I would counter to that is, while you're getting your oil changed, what are you doing?
That's what I'm saying.
You just sit in the car, right? Is it like an instant oil change thing?
No, I
go to like.
I go to Walmart normally. So then I'm yeah. And so it's not like a complete waste of time. I just hate it.
Yeah. I always think like, 'cause I get bored at school just sitting there.
Yeah.
So I always think like, okay, how can I make some money right now? How can I plan a business? How can I do something productive to make it feel like I'm not wasting my time?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I try to plan my day to be ultra productive.
Yeah.
That's why I don't think people, oh, you got to get up at 4 a.m. to be productive. No, it's just about how you use your time.
Yeah.
So I totally agree with that. I hate invaluable things, because if you're not doing something valuable, then you're going backwards.
Mm-hmm.
And people are going to say, oh, doing nothing is sometimes good. Absolutely. I would say sometimes when you need a break, that is valuable. You know?
Yeah.
Like, that's not invaluable. There's a difference between doing nothing and value.
Yeah.
If it's not bringing value, then you're just wasting time.
Yeah.
What else we got here?
Do sucky things.
Do sucky things. That's what you wrote.
Because I think it's kind of so.
Embrace the
today
suck.
was a-
That's what
yeah.
Navy SEALs
So
say.
today was like,
I don't know, my first day, I was like, I'm gonna cut for a month, and I want,
I
get some
probably
body,
did suck.
I get some body fat off. So today was like first run, and that 2 miles, and I was like, and first it snowed outside, so that already makes the day suck. You've seen my white stuff sucks. And then, but then I was like, okay, I can either run inside on a treadmill, or I can go embrace the suck and just run outside. So I put my shoes on and ran outside.
Was that valuable though? Would you have got more work done in the? Because I think if it would have brought more value for you to run inside, then it's not about the running inside outside.
Yeah,
I would do something else to embrace the suck.
Yeah, and my thing is like I just first day out running, I was like, and to me running outside in sucky weather just sucks in general. But like you're doing a lot of things that other people won't do.
Well, snow just sucks because you literally can't, like, I'd be too worried about hurting myself.
Yeah, and that was like my thought. I was like, okay, I have to run slow around corners.
Then
like,
my point is,
like,
you not get as fit or get, like, if you're trying to run a mile in 6 minutes,
my thing was like just my thing was
just run.
yeah. I just want to do 2 miles. Well, I mean 2 miles and I want to do 8 minute mile pace was generally my thinking.
So
And I ran it 7:48 was average.
we didn't have a lot of turns.
No, what 1, 2, 3 turns.
Yeah, that's not bad then.
You
But
know?
still, I mean, embracing the suck
Yeah,
does,
so-
it goes with the challenge.
Yeah, and just being outside. It's cold. It's wet. It wasn't horrible, but it wasn't fun. Like I like low-key am excited for my cold tub because I know that is gonna be terrible.
Dude, I've been doing that on Sundays now, like I texted you.
Yeah.
I hate every Sunday going in the shower. I'm like, this is about to suck.
That's what I'm saying. I was like, I know it's gonna suck.
But afterwards, you always feel so good, I bet.
That's what I'm saying. Like driving home, my body hurt, but I was like, that's worth it.
Yeah. See, the after effect is so much better when you embrace the fear, the challenge, the suck, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I think that's super important of this whole episode.
Yeah.
Is that when you come out better, we're talking about value right now.
Yeah.
Your value of yourself goes way up if you embrace the suck. And I literally wrote in my journal the other day, have fun with it. If you go into something and you're like, oh, this is gonna suck, it sucks more. But if you go into it and embrace the suck, hey, you know what? Nobody else is doing this. Look at me. I am the freaking man.
Yeah.
That makes you run faster.
Yeah.
Like I was doing a spin bike workout the other day, and I was like, I cannot do this right now. This sucks. I was literally thinking, like, why are my legs so tired? And then I started watching TV as I was doing the thing, and my mind just like
evaporated.
And the next thing I knew, I was going like 10 RPM faster, and this was like heavy like resistance. I was like,
yeah,
wow, like that was easy. 30 seconds went by already. So again, if you embrace the suck or get your mind off the suck and not think, because when you're in pain, your mind time slows down in your mind. You think, oh, that was 10 seconds. It was only 2 seconds, you know?
Yeah.
So I think embracing the suck is a great point. I like that you're focusing on that. But that's all I got for this week. You got anything else that you want to throw in before we get to the 1440?
I think that's a good place to.
All right.
Right there.
Continue to learn, face your fears, embrace the suck, and we'll catch you guys next Thursday on the 1440.
Love you. Bye.